So here it is, 2018, and you guys are looking to start a business, and you want your business to be really cool. You want it to set it off and it just be the most amazing thing out here. So you develop it. You get an audience, a meaning, purpose. So what do you need now? So one thing that a lot of people comes to me about is logo design, and I think that's pretty cool because I like to make logos and stuff like that. But just know this one thing, I have my own prices. I'm a designer, respect my design prices. There's a lot of people out here that have these skills or whatnot, and you probably could go with them, but you chose me because you see the type of stuff that I actually put up on my YouTube channel and stuff like that, and I'm always evolving and I'm doing that stuff. So if you guys like me for what I got, then come for me for that. But there's other people out here that got like $1 million design prices for one simple logo. I got my own kind of like pricing for it. So if that's something that you guys want, then definitely hit me up in my DMs. But that's not what the video is about. The video is about what the actual logo design is. And there's a lot of people who got misconceptions and stuff like that on what it actually is, because the logo is an important part of your business. So before I even start this video, there's a lot of things I need to clear up first. Like, number one, what actually is a logo? Now, a logo is a symbol that captures the emotions of your actual business. Okay, so like, let's just say we all know what the Apple logo looks like. We know what that Apple logo is about. It's a half-bitten apple. You guys can put the pieces together and it's kind of creative and all that stuff, but that logo has more meaning to it, like the Apple education and stuff like that. And that creativity thing that I just explained to you guys, that's what the Apple logo is about. But you wouldn't see that apple and think like, oh, technology and stuff like that. Some people might see that apple and they don't know nothing about Apple, by the way. Some people might see that apple and think like William Tell or something like that, who was shooting arrows at apples and stuff like that. This might be a food thing, or this might be something that represents wine, or you know, just anything like that, something organic. But if you guys didn't know what the apple was or what it's associated with, then it wasn't memorable. Not only does it capture the emotions, it actually have memorability into it too. So when people see that logo, they know what it's about. And that's basically what logos are. It's about capturing memorable moments in an icon or a typeface and making it a memorable identifier to an actual brand. Though it represents your brand, it is not your brand. And that's the things that people got to get away from. So when you're actually making your logo, you want to make something that's a little bit more emotional, something that captures that. And just remember that it has to be memorable to somebody who's gonna look at it and be like, oh, I get it. This is what this is attached to. So this logo can be like Sony, and people don't even know what Sony is, but then they can go to somebody and say, hey, what's Sony? And they can be like, oh, that's camera gear. Or that's those people that was directing those horrible Spider-Man movies. Fun fact, I actually like Spider-Man. Those Spider-Man movies were amazing to me, but a whole lot of people, a whole lot of movie critics did not like that movie, which sucks because like I thought that movie was amazing. And with that being said, Sony is a very good example of a typeface logo. Like they just have a typeface or whatnot and they let that go. Like that's just their branding. Like they feel like Sony, the word Sony is strong enough to carry the emotions of the brand, which is cool because that's what they've been going with for years, you know, like decades almost. And that's another misconception that a lot of people kind of fall into because they think their logos have to be icons and stuff like that, when an icon can just be like a logo type, you know, like a nice type, maybe manipulate it just a little bit, but it can be just like that typeface. You know, think about like Google. Google didn't have like an actual Google logo until like cell phones came out with it. They had that Times New Roman Garmin kind of like G or whatnot. I can't remember what typeface that is. If you guys know what typeface that is, leave it in the comment section below. Then they rebranded and they made the actual logo mark. Then they incorporated the logo mark and the logo type together to get that hybrid logo. And you know what? I talk about this a lot in the old video. I have two videos that I want to reference, but this one right here pretty much lays it all out, okay? The other video that I want to talk about is Nike. Like I did a Nike video or whatnot. Fun fact, Nike didn't even have a logo until like 1971 when Carolyn came along and actually was tasked to make that logo. And you know, she did make it for like pennies on a dollar, but that actually turned into something profitable for her. But Nike didn't even have a logo, okay? They was logoless. They had nothing. They was just bare out here just making shoes or whatnot for athletes, and then they decided to actually turn that into an actual business. And then Carolyn made sure that the emotions, everything that Nike stood for, was incorporated into a logo, and that logo could then capture the emotions attached to every person that's gonna wear that shoe and win. So just a little bit actually kind of proves the fact that you don't really need the logo first. Like you can actually just start the business and then move off and get a logo and stuff like that, but you really don't need the logo first. Just think about all these other fashion companies that have like type logos, like Old Navy. Old Navy is just a whole type out logo. Same thing about H&M. H&M is just a full type, you know, it's like brush strokes, okay? What I'm trying to say to you guys is that you really don't need to just make all these different logos. You guys can just start your business and then worry about the logo a little bit later on, you know? Get your identity out there first. Figure out what you stand for and why you stand for it, and then make the logo, right? Because then that logo is gonna signify everything that you want to actually stand for. And just one more thing before I move on. And I just wanna make sure that everybody's listening before I say this, all right? Like I said it already first, but I'm gonna say it again now. A logo is not your brand. It might represent your brand, but it's not your brand, okay? It's not your brand, okay? Now, a more common question that I'm usually getting is, what softwares do I use to actually make my logo? Now, this is a good question because you can actually mess this up. And when I was going to like design school and stuff like that, I used to just mess this up all the time. So I'm gonna drop you guys the straight truth, all right? Like, this is a big secret, but the first thing that you need, like the only thing that you need, to be honest with you, is a sketch pad and pencil. And a sketch pad and a pencil is gonna allow you to just draw, okay? Like, you wanna draw out the logo that you have. But once you have that, then you want to move into like a software, all right? So once you have your idea drawn out, it doesn't even matter if it's good, just like draw it out, all right? Like, just draw that thing out. But once you have that like drawn out, then you can move into like a vector-based program. So like Adobe Illustrator and Corel Draw. Anything that makes vectors is a good program to me. I don't care if it's Adobe Illustrator or if it's Corel Draw, but these two actually make vectors, all right? And you need those vectors because you want to scale up and down. Because the moment that you start using like PNG for everything, one, the quality gets lost, and then two, you can't scale it up. Like, if you scale it up, it's just gonna look pixelated and stuff like that. You don't want that. So you want to have an EPS or a PDF, and these usually come from like Illustrator and Corel Draw. I think those two programs are the best programs to have to actually make vector-based logos. Okay, so here's what I do to actually start my logo. So I pull out like my sketch pad. My sketch pad is like dope for me. Like, I sit back and I draw out two logos. So the first logo that I draw out is like an actual icon, and this is just kind of like more like a sarcastic version of what I'm thinking of. So what I'm drawing here is a Skull Kid. He's wearing like a hoodie, and he has like two crossbones behind him and whatnot, you know, kind of like the skull and bone things. And basically this is gonna be like streetwear brand or whatnot. So we have Skull Kid, cross and bones on his back, and that's pretty cool. We can put this out to like preteen to like mid-teenager, you know, so like 11 to like 16. I know that's not a good demographic to put it out to, but we can do something like that. Maybe to like skateboarders and stuff like that, and that can carry over into other things. So we have Skull Kid, and I want to use like an actual typeface, so I'm just gonna draw out like a typeface or whatnot, and I can just match that up when I go into Illustrator. Okay, so now when I get to Illustrator, I try to drop the opacity of my image right away, because that's gonna let me see those lines that I can go ahead and then trace over. Now, I have a whole lot of videos explaining this, and this is something you guys should definitely check out. I've been doing T-shirt Tuesday for about, I like to say 8-9 months. So there's 8 or 9 month worth of like T-shirt Tuesday design tutorials that you guys can sit back and watch. But in this one specifically, I want to sit back and try to focus on like balancing and weight and stuff like that, because people will point that out. Like, if one side is like way heavier or has a whole lot more on it than the other side, people will point that out. So you want to make sure that those are both balanced in even ways. Now, I didn't do this correctly in a drawing because, well, it's just a drawing. But when I come into Illustrator, that's the one thing that I want to kind of fix up the most. And also, don't be scared to like use shapes and stuff like that. I know a lot of people get in there and they're like, oh, well, Illustrator's about drawing and stuff like that, so we can need to get a pencil and just kind of like draw around it. But when it comes down to it, sometimes shapes are easier. So if you're using like the pen tool, or if you're using a pencil or anything like that, that's cool and all, but try using shapes when you have to. Now, the next thing that you guys can kind of easily fix without messing up is just picking the right font. Now, this is a problem because most people just go to like Arial, or they look for like one of the most decorative fonts or whatnot. But if it doesn't fit the audience or anything like that, then you're just messing up. And then on top of that, if it's not legible, you know, that's the thing that design is about. It has to have a clear legibility and stuff like that. So if it's decorative and you can't really read it and stuff like that, or if it doesn't fit the audience, then you're just wasting time. So make sure you go through, make sure you research what actually works out for them, and then put that towards the design. Now, the final thing I want to talk about here in Illustrator, and pretty much just in any design program, is you got to have the right color. Now, I spent a long time just trying to figure out color psychology and stuff like that, and what makes people get on board and all that stuff. So you guys want to kind of take the time to actually figure that stuff out. I might put this on my channel, but in this description box today, in this one video description box, I will have a book listed that you guys can get, and that book pretty much taught me color psychology, and it'll pretty much help you out as well. But just know that different colors actually help people out. If you want them to do something specific, then you want to use these type of colors. If you want them to feel this type of emotion, especially with logos, you know, then you want to use these certain type of colors or whatnot. And that's what I want you guys to kind of get into. If that's something you want me to talk about on my channel, leave that in the comment section. I'll definitely pick that up and I'll start, you know, putting that together for you guys. And that's pretty much it, you guys. So a logo brings out that emotion, and this logo right here would probably bring out the emotions of like a kid or something like that. Like I said, between the age of like 11, preteen 11, 12 to like 16, 17. They might use this for like a skateboard company. You know, this might be just like a streetwear clothing brand, you know, just for them. So this is something that will bring out that emotion. They'll remember it. They'll be like, hey, I remember this when I was a kid. I used to wear this a whole lot. But with that being said, you guys, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. So if you like this one, give me a nice little thumbs up or whatnot. If you're new to the channel, then go ahead and subscribe. I do this all the time. As a matter of fact, in the comment section below, let me know if there's anything that I can do for you. I know I said I was gonna have character profiles up for today, but I kind of fell off on that because I had something to do. But I will have that up next week. So you guys, let me know in the comment section below if there's anything else that you guys want me to do going forward. But with that being said, you guys, I gotta get up out of here. So stay amazing, stay creative, above all else, stay awesome.